Hey, good morning, my dear friends. Making my way down here to the beach to set up for the MB. Let me tell you, pretty active surf line again. You can't see it right now. There are some white turnbirds picking at the water right here, but the pelicans were just pounding this place. They've taken off for a little while, but now, yeah, I can see the birds. They're working off this way. We've got a lot to cover with you. Bluefin tuna, did they bite last night? Diego Nuno said they were gonna turn on. Deckhand on the Royal Star, was he right? And also, we're watching that white sea bass situation up in the Channel Islands. Some pretty good fishing at Catalina Island and so much more. You know what time it is. Time to set up for the MB. Stay tuned, everybody.
Check out this beautiful 220-pound bluefin tuna caught by expert angler Gary Sato. Great job on board the Royal Star, Gary. That is a magnificent catch and a beautiful fish. And Diego Nuno makes a prediction. They are going to bite tonight. The bluefin are going to bite because Diego says whenever we see them in the daytime, they bite at night, and we are seeing lots of fish here today. All right, let's see if Diego's prediction will be true. I'll be monitoring it 24/7 for you. Meanwhile, what a great catch for Gary Sato.
It'd be easier if you did that, yeah. Maybe.
I'd grab him by the shoe part myself, but 2, 3, 4. Come on, Michael Limon. 5. Oh no, 4. We're still stuck on 4. 5, 6. Paulina. 7. Paulina. 8. Paulina. 10. 11. Come on, Michael, you can do it. 11. 11. 12. I'm going to do it in Spanish for Paulina. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. Michael Limon. What do you think? Wasn't that beautiful?
Oh,
Man, congratulations, Michael. Yeah, that was beautiful.
To join us on a reverse 2.5-day trip on board the beautiful Apollo out of 22nd Street Landing, departing June the 11th at 10 a.m. Wow, does that give us incredible range, and returning 7 p.m. on June the 13th. This is going to be a great fish. It's got all kinds of possibilities, from bluefin tuna to white sea bass to halibut and so much more. Friedman Adventures Charters puts you in the fish. Make sure you text us today so you can get on a trip, and you just might catch the fish of your dreams. Friedman Adventures Charter, 657-227-6459.
What a fish! Yeah! Good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. A little breezy, and it's kind of chilly down here, but man, do we have a lot to cover with you. Bluefin tuna, big ones, and seen lots of them. Did they bite last night? We'll have the answer to that. A rare oarfish surfaced in Cabo San Lucas. We'll show you the photos of this unusual critter. Also, we are watching the situation here with regard to white sea bass and halibut. Are we sitting on a powder keg? Is it ready to erupt? And a guy by the name of Carlos was fishing a jetty in El Segundo that he's fished for over 20 years. Lifeguards kicked him out of there. We're going to go out to El Segundo today and see if we can get some answers to that and see if that jetty is indeed closed to the public. We've got that and so much more, including the Qualifier 105 up in Alaska. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, is that good? Much needed this morning. So good to be with you. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to spend here with us on the morning briefing on Friedman Adventures. Last night, I'll tell you, Tackle Shop Confessions was out of control. We had so much fun last night, and one of our viewers decided that they were going to buy Michael Limon a brand new pair of boots. It was great stuff last night, and they want to remain anonymous. You know who you are, and you know how much I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing that for Michael. As I mentioned, we have got a lot to talk about here today, so let's get into it. Hit that like button, share these videos with a friend, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to tick the little bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. Also, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. make sure you do that. All right, let's get into it. We'll go way up north to Alaska, where Scott Buchert, who is a deckhand here in Southern California, is getting ready to start his commercial salmon season up there. He'll be up there for a few months before he returns, but he was in the shipyard in Homer, Alaska, and shot this video of the Qualifier 105, which looks to be a work in progress. Still, it's great to see the old beautiful boat that so many of you fished on throughout the years here in SoCal, a great long-range vessel. It had a fire in the shipyard, over a year ago now, I think, and it looks like they're still working on her. But there she is, the Qualifier 105. Had many great trips with John Klein and Bobby Allen way back in the day. That would have been in the late 70s, 80s, something like that. Really great times on the Qualifier 105. We thank Scott for providing us with that video. Down in Cabo San Lucas, a rare oarfish was seen on the surface. Sharks were nibbling at it. These fishermen extracted it from the sea. That is a big oarfish. You rarely see them on the surface. They live in the depths. They normally come to the surface when they are dying or disoriented. And also, they are commonly called earthquake fish or doomsday fish, because in some cultures and areas of the world, when they see that oarfish, they think it portends something bad to come, a tsunami or an earthquake or something like that. So if Cabo has an earthquake today, I'll be scratching my head about that one. Unusual stuff, no question about it. Let's go down to the beautiful coastal town, 70 miles of beautiful Ensenada, Baja California. They are starting to catch more and more bluefin tuna on a fairly regular basis. We're not going to call it wide open, but that light switch just keeps ticking up a little bit more down there at Blackfin Sport Fishing. They have been catching some bluefin tuna. Now, mostly we are talking about bonita, rockfish, occasional yellowtail, but these bluefin are starting to show up with greater frequency, and that is great news. Baja Fishing here recently has had their share of go-arounds on the bluefin tuna, and there's some big fish. Some of this stuff is 40 to 60 pounds, some a little bit smaller, but you have that fish right on up to 200 pounds and above that, and that is a magnificent grade of bluefin tuna wandering around down there. Trolled Mad Max throwing iron on foamers is a good way to get it done, and hopefully we are seeing that light switch tick up in the beautiful coastal town of Ensenada. You could still, if you prefer to fish inshore, fish calico bass along the rugged, pristine Baja coast there at Punta Banda, and it's been pretty good. Water temps are still a little bit cool. It's frigid this year, and we're just waiting for this water to warm up. Hopefully that's going to happen here very, very soon. We're starting to see some more springtime signs, but overall, it's kind of a slow start to our season, so we'll continue to watch that and monitor it for you very, very closely. All right, let's talk about San Diego bluefin tuna. Yesterday, we saw some great daytime fishing. The Intrepid had some kite fishing going on, as well as sinker fishing going on. A 220-pound fish taken on board the Royal Star yesterday, as you saw Gary Sato with that magnificent catch. Way to go, Gary! And Diego Nuno, deckhand on the Royal Star, told me yesterday, and he's told me this before, and he nailed it. Just knocked it out of the park. He said, Phil, we're seeing the fish. We're seeing the daytime fish. There's a lot of it here. It's going to bite tonight. Diego hit a home run. Many boats last night had some great fishing on this big, great fish on the Royal Star. There's only 9 anglers on board, and there were several guys who remained asleep on this trip. They ended up with 17 bluefin tuna, one short of limits, and the 120 to 160 pound class. That is fantastic fishing. That is huge fish. You're up there at limits on those things. The thing you got to worry about most is your processing, Phil, because that's a lot of fish to have processed, and that is a great catch. What a great one on the Royal Star last night. Diego, home run, man. Nice going. We also saw some beautiful fish on the Spirited Adventure, the Intrepid, as we mentioned, the Polaris Supreme. 15 fish in the 100 to 235 pound class. They've got a magnificent fish on there. The American Angler with some good catches last night. There are still boats that struggle, and sometimes you completely miss on these fish or just get a handful. but the amount of fish that is being seen right now is absolutely mind-boggling. It's incredible. There is a lot of big bluefin tuna around, and we are still waiting for that light switch to just go completely up and on. The moon phase is perfect right now, and Diego said the winds were diminishing here around 4 o'clock this morning, so it seemed like it was coming down. If the weather cooperates a little bit more and we get further into this moon phase, you've got to think that this thing is going to bust wide open with the amount of fish that we are seeing right now. It really looks good. And fish in multiple areas, butterfly bank, 60-mile bank, hidden bank. There's a lot of fish in a vast area, so it is looking fantastic right now. Needless to say, you're hearing the size of these fish. You want to tackle up properly. We got into that on Tackle Shop Confessions last night. You should go back and listen to Sam De La Torre tell you exactly what you're going to need to be successful. But you have to have at least 100-pound Spectra, 200-pound leader material, jigs in the, I want to say, 200-gram to 500-gram range, depending on wind and current, depth of the fish. You're going to want to have that. And then also the colored metered line or some other way. I don't care if you take a Sharpie and mark the line. You got to know where your jig's at. When that guy, the captain upstairs, says drop to 300 feet, you have to drop to 300. If you're at 400, you're not getting a bite. If you're at 200, you're not getting a bite. If you're at 300, you're on to a big, beautiful trophy bluefin tuna. It is so essential to your success to do that. So please keep that in mind. That will make all the difference in the world. So really some good sign down there and some pretty darn good fishing on several boats. Not wide open, okay? But on this grade of fish, the casualty rate is absolutely through the roof. You lose a lot of fish. First of all, it's nighttime fishing, so tangles and trying to see what's going on. And more importantly, it's just the sheer size and strength of these beasts right now. So really looking good down there. And that powder cake could blow sky high. We have that Apollo trip. 4 spots left, I think, maybe only 2 because somebody just contacted me. Apollo out of 22nd Street Landing, leaving at 10 a.m. on June the 11th. We're leaving at 10 a.m. because we can be anywhere we need to be. If that sea bass bite erupts in the Channel Islands, we'll be on it. If we're going south to that bluefin tuna, we'll be on it. We have given ourselves the perfect opportunity to have a great trip. And that's June 11th through the 13th. 20 anglers on board that one. Only a few spots left. Text me if you want to get on, 657-227-6459. Now, as we take a look at the full-day boats out of San Diego, they are seeing copious amounts of bluefin also. They're kind of in that same situation where that light switch hasn't quite gone on. Now, the other day, we had some of those fish taken on board the San Diego, on board the Liberty, on board the Grande. Some of that bluefin tuna was taken. Yesterday on the San Diego, they looked at so much BFT that just didn't want to nibble, but it was there, and they caught straight bonita on this trip. Big bonita, nice fish. But of course, everybody is focused in on that bluefin tuna. You gotta think, it's just a matter of time until it turns on. Will today be the day? Who knows? It could very well be the day. But for right now, those full-day boats are offshore looking at a lot of bluefin, got it on the sonar, seeing it visually up on the surface at times, and catching big bonita. Hang on, everybody. This thing is going to go, and it's going to go in a big way. And if you're jumping on a full-day boat, you've got to bring the same tackle the guys on 3-day boats are bringing, because that 200-pound bluefin tuna is around, and you don't want to lose the fish of a lifetime due to a tackle malfunction. You don't have the right tackle, call the landing and rent the appropriate gear. And we're going to get to the point here where you're going to have to reserve that kind of tackle because they literally sell out of their rental gear. So remember that. If you need to rent the appropriate tackle, do so. Now, you're looking at me saying, they had straight bonita yesterday, and I'm renting tackle for a 200-pound bluefin tuna. You just don't want to get caught with your pants down on a trip like that. Keep that in mind. Tax problems, the unfiled taxes, or anything else, you want to turn to our guy, Tim Marquez from Best Income Tax. Tim's been doing this for 35 years. He's a trusted friend. Give Tim a call today at heating and or air conditioning needs. You want to call John Lopez over there at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. John's a great guy. and he is awaiting your phone call right now. All right, let's get back into the island situation. At the Coronado Islands, we continue to see a handful of yellowtail being taken out there. Sometimes you'll get up into the 20 range on the yellows at the islands right now. Now wide open, but pretty good. And there's been fish on the surface iron, on the yo-yo iron. It's this breeze is really starting to pick up here on the beach, and also on a fly line bait. 25-pound fluorocarbon's been working really, really well. That's something you can take to the bank, and I'm telling you right now, choosing a good hot bait makes all the difference in the world. You can back that up with some rockfish and other species. Over there at San Clemente Island, a few yellowtail and halibut being taken over there. Back that up with lots of rockfish. Nothing wrong with that. The Fury was over there at San Clemente Island, and I got to tell you, James Leon, proud papa, he was so thrilled to see his son catch that great halibut on board the Fury. I know exactly how you feel, James, because I go back to when my kids were really young and caught their first halibut or albacore or whatever, and it's just a moment that will be indelibly etched in your mind. And you've got the video also to just make it that much more special. Way to go, James, and congratulations to your son on that magnificent catch halibut. Really, really a beautiful thing to see. So good stuff. Clemente pretty good. Now, at Catalina Island, we are seeing some more signs of life. The gale force out of LA Harbor with 3 yellowtail. Had a handful of bonita. Better than that, actually. More calico bass than we've seen in a while, and plenty of rockfish. Cat is trying to get on the bite and showing some significant signs of life, and there's rockfish at Catalina. Also, the pursuit has been over there on a fairly regular basis, also out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California, and they've also had some bonita calico bass. They're looking at the yellows and also catching some rockfish out there in that neck of the woods. A Pride out of 22nd Street's had some big white sea bass in an undisclosed location. So they continue to pick a few big white sea bass, not a ton, but a little bit of that going on also. And up there in the Channel Islands, we are seeing copious amounts of rockfish being taken. It has been absolutely phenomenal, including some really great fishing for lings. The Californian has been out recently out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing, along with the Island Spirit. We'll be on the Island Spirit on Friday. Can't wait for that trip. That's going to be a lot of fun. And they've been really putting the wood to the rockfish. And folks, I got to tell you, if you're on that trip with us, that Friedman Adventures trip, the weather forecast couldn't get any better. It's going to be a lovely day on the water. We're leaving at 6 a.m., fishing till 6 p.m., special times. Daniel Hadaway says we are going for big cod in the morning, and then we're going to go see if we can catch a halibut or two in the afternoon. I can't wait for that. Ranger 85 up there with some really great fishing also. So we have seen tremendous fishing up there in that neck of the woods. So happy to see some good fishing. And I must mention that powder keg, we've been sitting on it for a long time now, but there is still so much white sea bass being seen up there in that neck of the woods. I know over there on the Aloha Spirit, they've had some big white sea bass here recently, but most of the guys up there are just looking at them right now. They just have not gone on the bite. Perhaps the lack of squid is a problem, because there is a definite absence of squid up there in that neck of the woods. We need some squid to move into the area, and hopefully that won't be too much longer. But overall, I love what is happening in the Channel Islands. The thing is about that place, the Channel Islands, is you can bank on the rockfish. So you're going to go home with great rockfish if you have good weather. And then after that, maybe sea bass and halibut. We'll watch that. Don't forget about the El Patron. They run out of Long Beach sport fishing. They have some special trips coming up to Catalina Island and elsewhere. And they'll be offshore once this tuna bite gets going. Get on the El Patron, www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Love fishing on the El Patron. All right, on the coastal areas, let's start San Diego. The Dolphin, pretty good sheep's head and calico bass fishing. In fact, darn good on board the Dolphin. John Ho loves to fish on that boat, and it seems like they have been doing pretty good. And we're seeing a little bit more bass locally here in the LA Orange County area, Huntington Beach and surrounding area. Our conditions have been really poor, as pointed out by Dave Dodge captain who was out the other day, and he said 58-degree water, current screaming uphill. Well, the water is just not clean right now, and he couldn't get a surface bite at all. But there's still some really good rock fishing and sculpin fishing going on the local scene. Andrew Mack was on the City of Long Beach, said they had a great day on the water with limits of sculpin and a little bit of rockfish to go along with that. And we are seeing those kind of similar scores from the border, San Diego area, all the way up to Ventura. A lot of rockfish there at Marina del Rey. Tom Durr is running the Pescador out of Redondo, doing a great job catching lots of fish. Same thing out of 22nd Street. We've got the Monte Carlo, and on and on and on. I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but it gets redundant at some point. Mostly the sculpin, rockfish, whitefish on the local scene right now, with an occasional halibut here and there, but really not that much on that. Hey, I got to go back down south for a moment because some of our friends have recently been down to the Bay of Los Angeles. In fact, a lot of guys have been down there. And Nick from Bass Pro Shops, Nick Arteaga, he was down at Bola and had some exceptional yellowtail fishing down there in that neck of the woods. Way to go, Nick! And thank you so much for sharing those great photos with us. I'm so happy you got down to the Bay of LA and had a really, really good time. All right, I am going to head over to El Segundo and find out about this controversy regarding the jetty and the supposed ordinance that has closed the jetty to fishermen. We're not going for that. Well, what I mean to say is I want to find out what the ordinance is, and we'll go over and try to get the lifeguards to make a comment on it. So you can look forward to that a little bit later today, as we'll be out there fighting for anglers' rights respectfully and politely. We will do so. And of course, we'll be watching this bluefin tuna up and down the Southern California coast. Big fish, lots of them. That light switch went on pretty well last night, but we just needed to tick up a little bit more. And we'll be watching everything else in between for each and every one of you. Don't forget, you can go to the Promar Ahi website. You put in FA, Friedman Adventures, at checkout, and you'll get 10% off any order your little heart desires. So keep that in mind also. That Apollo trip starting to fill, so just a few more weeks before we depart with that special 10 a.m. departure. All right, my friends, have a great day on kind of a chilly, dreary morning here in Southern California, but the fishing certainly is really starting to head in the right direction, and things are looking up, up, up. 235-pound bluefin tuna on the Polaris Supreme. The Royal Star with exceptional fishing. Spirited Adventure, Intrepid, American Angler, and several other boats with big bluefin tuna, 100-plus pound stuff. Ensenada in on it, that rare oarfish in Cabo San Lucas. Just another day here at Friedman Adventures. Take care, have a great day, and I hope to see you really, really soon.